Good morning and welcome to Dolphins Today. Miami has made another signing in NFL free agency. This one in the secondary. We've been asking for a safety. We got one. Ifeatu Melifonwu, the Detroit Lion, to Miami on a one-year, $4 million deal. We'll break down the signing plus some other signings that happened overnight that impact Miami, like Jonathan Allen and Javon Holland. But this is why you subscribe, because we'll have you covered on every single Miami Dolphins move that is made in free agency and this offseason. So hit that sub button. After a good night where we're feeling good after signing James Daniels, I was clamoring for Miami to finally find a long-term safety piece because I knew Javon Holland wasn't going to return. That evidently is the case. He signed a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Giants. We'll speak more in depth about that in a second. But I was looking to sign a Julian Blackmon, a Justin Reed in free agency that could be a starting caliber guy. Now, Ifatu Melifonwu is an intriguing name because he is a lot of talent, but he can never stay on the football field, hence why he was signed for a one-year, $4 million deal. This man has dealt with countless injuries over the course of his career: ankle injuries, hand injuries, hamstring injuries. He is someone who has only played 17 games once in his career, that coming in the 2023 season. Only played 3 games in 2024, 7 his rookie season, and then 10 in his second season, drafted in the same draft class as Javon Holland in 2021, has been a safety cornerback hybrid type. Now, he is more of a safety, but there is versatility on that back end for Melifonwu. Interesting to note that his PFF grades during the 2023 season were very, very good. He was graded 85.6, had a solid coverage grade of 80.9, allowed just a 57.9 completion percentage, only 114 yards through the air, had a pair of interceptions. But as I mentioned, he doesn't play that often, and despite playing 17 games in 2023, he only played 398 total snaps on the defensive side of the ball. Third-round pick out of Syracuse in that 2021 draft, like Javon Holland. Listen, this is a good depth piece. I don't think anyone should be writing home about this and being like, wow, the Dolphins just found their starting safety replacement of Javon Holland. I think Melifonwu is a good guy that can play in rotation, and if he stays healthy, can make an impact for this Dolphins football team. But I just would not count on him being one of your starting guys. I wouldn't. And I think that's reflected with the one-year, $4 million contract. My guess is that Chris Grier just went out, kind of identified him as someone he'd like to sign, and they offered him their one-year cheap price and said, hey, if you're getting more than that, go ahead, go grab it in free agency, but if you're not, come join us here in Miami on that one-year, $4 million deal. And I think that's ultimately what he did. So quickly, grade the signing for me. A, B, C, D, or F. How would you grade Melifonwu or Ifatu Melifonwu coming to the Miami Dolphins? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Like I said, I'm going with a stern B-. I think this is a depth piece. I'm not writing home. I do not think it's a starter because you cannot seriously count on him being one of your starting 2 safeties. You just can't. And I think Miami has made it very clear on how they are going to address the secondary throughout free agency with this signing, letting some of these other safeties get taken off the board. I thought Jeremy Chin on a 2-year, $16 million contract was great value that the Dolphins could have got. They ultimately didn't do that. He went to the Las Vegas Raiders. That kind of told me where we're going with this. I think they're going to sign some depth pieces here, kind of create a well-rounded room maybe in free agency, and then attack it in the early parts of the draft, whether that's with Jahdae Barron, Malachi Starks, Nick Rohloff in the first round of the NFL draft in late April, or just wait till the second round and go with an Xavier Watts and an Andrew Makuba, and you also have the guy Jonas Sanker from Virginia. These guys are the players that we are going to start to focus on when we turn our attention from free agency to the NFL draft. I think Melifonwu is a good piece. I'm excited to have him because when he is healthy, he can play at a very high level, especially in coverage. But there is questions about him being able to stay healthy. Now, before we transition to the other news around the Dolphins and the NFL, I did want to quickly mention, a lot of people are going to ask, how is he as a tackler? Well, in limited chances, he is a better tackler than Javon Holland has been. Remember, Holland had 12 missed tackles last season, a missed tackle percentage of 17.1%. Yeah, Melifonwu in his limited opportunities have never eclipsed those numbers. Last season, in 3 games, missed only 1 tackle with a 10% rate in that 2023 year where he played the most snaps in his career and played 17 games. 5 missed tackles on a 15.2% rate. Still not the best, but it is still lower than Javon Holland's, which is pretty much the benchmark here. We're just looking to improve off of that because we can't stand watching Holland come up and try to make a tackle in November and December and come up empty-handed like he has been doing so often over the past couple of years. So we'll move here from Ifeatu Melifonwu, welcome to Miami, to Javon Holland, because he did sign a 3-year, $45 million contract this morning with the New York Giants. And I do find it fascinating here because I talked about it yesterday on our live show of maybe there is a world where Holland could end up returning to Miami. I still was under the belief that the Dolphins were moving on, and I think their language to the media and the way this safety market shook out reflected that. I thought Miami could have signed him back to a $15 million per year contract. I thought he was going to end up getting $17, $18 million per season. That's what other people said, like Jeremy Fowler. Some of these other reporters said that the market would be very good and robust for Holland. Well, suitors started coming off the board. Carolina went a different direction. Trayvon Moore got paid more than Javon Holland. I have been lower on Holland than most after this past year, but to me, he's better than Trayvon Moore, so that one shocked me a little bit. But you saw Ifatu Melifonwu get the same deal as Javon Holland, which was a stunner in my opinion. Cam Bynum got 4 for $60, same average per season as Javon Holland. So we thought Javon was going to get the clear-cut most money per season in free agency. Not the case. Was actually second to Trayvon Moore, same amount as Melifonwu and Cam Bynum, which I thought Miami, hey, people always ask me throughout the offseason, what would you be willing to bring Holland back at? I said if his number creeped back to 14, 15 million per season, I would start to think about re-signing Javon Holland. Well, it ultimately did, and Miami still didn't want to bring him back. So, like I mentioned, that is a clear indication of the Dolphins' thoughts on Holland in their system as a player and in their locker room. Before we round out today's show, let me know, would you have re-signed Javon Holland on a $15 million per season contract? Let me know. Type Y for yes or type N for no. All right, one last target that we have to discuss here on this show, Jonathan Allen, someone that I really wanted the Dolphins to add. I think you guys really wanted to add. Next to Zach Sealer would have been an excellent duo in the interior in terms of being able to stop the run as well as get after the pass rusher or the quarterback, even though Allen hasn't been the best in terms of stopping the run over his career. He signed a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Minnesota Vikings. Listen, Jonathan Allen is a good football player. He has had a great career to this point. But I would never have even thought about getting close to $20 million per season. Now, the guarantees of that contract have not come out at the time of filming. I'm just looking at the raw numbers that was reported when the breaking news was broke. But the Dolphins probably would have been interested in Javon Holland, or it could be Jonathan Allen, on like $12 million per season, 13. The fact that he's potentially getting $20 million per season is just absolutely egregious. I would have never expected Allen to get that much money in the same kind of breath that I didn't expect Javon Holland to get as little money as he did. So 2 big pieces here that were going to shape the offseason for the Dolphins in terms of did Holland leave? Where did he go? And then if they were able to sign Jonathan Allen, which there was clear interest there, both of them go elsewhere, and the Dolphins are left empty-handed. All right, little tracker here, bring everything in to full circle. Dolphins have made 4 exterior signings to this point. They obviously signed James Daniels, the offensive lineman from the Steelers. He'll be slotted in as your starting right guard next season, 3-year, $24 million deal. They also signed Larry Borom, who is a swing tackle / versatile piece on the offensive line as depth. Not expected to start, but the Dolphins look at him as someone who can maybe move outside to inside and be pretty strong. Okay, then you have Zach Wilson, the quarterback, 1 year, $6 million deal. He is going to be your backup for Tua Tagovailoa next year. Still expect Miami to sign or draft someone in free agency, or draft, geez, Louise, and ultimately round out their QB room like that. And then the newest signing, Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety. Still some names out there. Andre Cisco off the board at safety. Julian Blackmon is still out there. Justin Reed is still out there. Justin Simmons is still out there. I still think Miami needs to sign a legit starting safety in free agency, and then you can go into the draft with a best player available mindset, to where if it's Will Johnson, maybe they take Will Johnson, Jade Barron, Nick Amanwari, Malachi Starks, a defensive lineman on the interior. I think the Dolphins should sign another starting safety. It seems like the safety market is kind of a little bit cheaper than anticipated, especially with those top tier guys. So maybe you can get a Julian Blackmon on a multi-year contract with $7-8 million per season. Or maybe you just go veteran route for 1 year with Justin Simmons, and then you have a room of Melifonwu, Simmons, Patrick McMorris, and said rookie you draft in the first 2 days of the NFL draft. Certainly a possibility, but whatever happens the rest of the free agency and offseason period, we will have you covered here at Dolphins Today. So hit that sub button and join us.